I know. I produce all this great content, but you have no clue who this bowtie agent is and how he got here and why he does what he does. Well, let me tell you a story about how I got into real estate. Hey there, it's me, Stefan Burchard, the Desert Bowtie Agent here in the Palm Springs region. I record and post content here about the greater Palm Springs region real estate market and the desert lifestyle because I believe real estate should be fun and easy. Check back because I upload new content every other week. How do you do? I'm back. So, rewind the clock back to early 2000s. I worked in an IT job that I loved. Unfortunately, about that same time, the bottom dropped out of that industry. I found myself unemployed with no career prospects since the dot-bomb eviscerated my segment of the IT industry. So, I found myself searching, not just for a job, but for a meaning or a purpose to my life. I felt I'd lost that. Unfortunately, I had my whole identity wrapped up in my IT career. When that went away, I completely lost my sense of identity. I no longer knew who I was or what I wanted. After getting booted, I tried to obtain another IT job because that shit paid real good and I was damn good at it. I was unsuccessful, and my headhunter suggested I find other work since the prospects in the IT industry had fallen away and it would be some time before they recovered. Before getting laid off from that job, I was actually studying to obtain my real estate broker's license. Why, do you ask? Well, let me tell you. My partner at the time worked for his brother, a mortgage broker, and he would surrender 50% of his commissions to his brother. Not cool, especially because the broker did very little to earn that 50%. It was suggested that I could get my broker's license and open up my own company so my partner, or should I say we, could keep 100% of his commissions. It was an interesting proposition that I had agreed to, and I thought it would be no big deal since I just graduated with a master's degree. I was pretty smart, right? Boy, was I naive. Ironically, I started working for my partner's brother and helped him with his books and negotiating with creditors on behalf of the brokerage. Not an interesting part of the story, but this skill, negotiating, came in strong later. I studied and studied. Back then, there were very little online options for studying and reading, so I had to read 7 different books on specific topics to qualify for the preparation exams. Then, I had to pass these prep exams as part of my preparation for taking the state exam. Easy peasy. They were all open book tests. Yay! Once I'd passed those exams, I achieved my education requirement to take the state exam. I was able to bypass taking the salesperson and go straight for the broker's exam because of my higher education. This is important because the salesperson exam passing threshold is 65%. Yeah, you heard me. 65%. Can you say low? That's a freaking D, y'all. The brokerage exam threshold is 80%. That didn't seem like a big deal at the time. Boy, was I and my ego about to learn big time. So I scheduled and paid for my exam. The wait was about 8 weeks at that time, and I had to send in a frickin' form. This was pre-internet access. I could see the schedule, but I had to fill out a form and mail it in. Blah! I did my best to prepare by cramming on the sample exams the program had given me. Cram, up to the day before I had to take the exam. Went to the exam and completed it. Yay! Hurdle straddled! I had to wait 3 to 4 weeks to hear back. And I failed that sucker. Oh my God, I was so pissed and rejected. I thought for sure I was going to pass considering my education and my ability to absorb knowledge. This was a considerable blow to my ego at the time, and especially my self-confidence. Ouch! Took me about a week or so to get over it and to pick up my bootstraps and keep marching. So I scheduled and applied for a second exam. Easy peasy, right? Well, this time I took my studying a little bit more seriously and would take an hour or 2 out of my day to study and prepare for the exam for several weeks before the exam. I took time off of work and worked through the practice exams and the coursework. Again, I was pissed and bewildered. I thought for sure I was going to pass considering the preparation I took this time. Lord, was this yet another dramatic blow to my ego? More importantly, my self-confidence. What was I going to do now? I was frustrated, angry, and scared to take it again. Pretty insecure and doubtful about myself. I knew I needed something better. Something way outside my realm of knowing. I needed to pull out the big guns now. Failure was not an option on this third go-round. So I found a company that held a live 2-day prep course. I was game for anything at this point. So I did exactly as they suggested before even scheduling the prep course. I signed up for my 3rd state exam cycle. They had suggested I schedule my exam, then take the course as close to my exam date as I could. Well, the course was a great experience. They walked us through everything we needed to pass. More importantly, taught me how to take the exam. They said it was a reading test as much as a knowledge test. I had to be clear of the questions before choosing the most correct answer. The state uses not, except, nor, and other negations in the exam questions, which completely changed the question's meaning. Great insight, right? After the prep course, I booked a hotel for the night before the exam. This way I could study in peace and keep myself in the right mindset for this next go-round. The exam experience this time was completely different. I felt calm, confident, stress-free, and like I knew what I was doing. Well, 3 to 4 weeks later, when I got my results, of course, I was happy to know that I passed this time. Yay! I was now an official California real estate broker. Woohoo! What I learned during this long, laborious process is that I don't always know the best way, and I may need to ask or perform some research to find out the best way about doing something. My ego had gotten in the way twice and slowed down the process of getting my broker's license by about 6 months. The rest of the story is history, because 25 years later, I'm still in the business. What I love most about this business is it's about connecting and building trust with clients, realtors, and then negotiating and communicating. Those are all things I'm really good at and I love. I thought when I got into real estate that it was all about sales. That's not necessarily the truth. Hey, DM me with any questions and please pass this on to a friend or family member who may be looking to buy or sell in the Palm Springs region. Now, watch this awesome video about the birth of the Bowtie Agent brand. Bye! Found myself unemployed with no career spot. Started working for my brother's partner. My battery cut off that last one. Who may be looking to buy or sell in the Palm Springs region.